Hello, greetings. How are you? I'm right behind this beautiful big tree. I don't know if it's a redwood. It's in Medford. Um, so if it's redwood, they planted it here. But I just wanted to do this brief video because I noticed how lately I've been kind of tired. Just my body's fighting off some stuff, and then when I get up in the morning, immediately get you know how you'll get thoughts, and like it seems like, and also like you could speak to yourself, like the thoughts often manifest like we're speaking to ourselves. But I just let them all go, and I just kind of do my day dumb, not talking to myself. Or if I do, I'll catch it and see it, because the thinking is all, it's all coming from the dark side. We just think it's us thinking, but I mean, we tend to, except if you do the Roy Masters meditation exercise, you will see that there's a separate entity thinking, and that's the knowledge of good and evil. That's the thinking in us. It also, it we can't, we can't get, we can't get direction from thinking, trying to think about things, think about that, make decisions about this and mull it in our head and it be right. Because that's, we have the light inside us, which you can see when you close your eyes, and you see a little bit, even a slight light when you do that meditation, which is just a silent prayer. It's disciplining yourself to not go along with thinking, not to worry, not to want, what you're going to say. Or if you do, you catch it, just like Jesus said, don't think about what you're going to eat, clothe yourself, what you're going to say. It's giving you the discipline to do that, because it's separating you from all that thinking in the head. And then if you hear anybody say, oh, we got to decide this, decide that. I thought about this, and I thought to myself this, and it said to me in my head. God spoke to me in my mind. In my mind said, they're deceived. Okay, there's a lot of them like that, doing that. A lot of supposedly Christian ministered people. They don't know what they're talking about. They just don't. And my former church. The wonderful Jew who believes in Jesus, who's in heaven now, Roy Masters Foundation of Human Understanding. That's where the Be Still exercise comes from, originates from. They're lost now because Roy Masters passed away. I don't believe he had to. I won't go into that. I think he could have been cared for and been gone back on the radio, and we were really looking for that to happen. But anyway, that's another subject. And but now, like, you can hear the leader of that, Alan Masters, his son, he's just off. He's in his intellect, and his wife chimes in on everything like she's the spiritual leader, finisher of all truth and wisdom, sort of. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they're both very in their head. They're in the false conscience. I call it the false conscience, the thinking that sounds like it's our friend, that sounds like it's the truth. They're very into that, and they've just led the foundation down the wrong path, and it's down the MAGA path, and it's unfortunate. They can't see the forest from trees. The time we're in, 2028n.com, is exactly biblical miraculous confirmation showing it. Jesus does, in the passage of Matthew 24, if you read the whole thing in context, we are to know the time we are in. We're not to know the day and the hour, but that doesn't mean we don't know the year and the very specific things as related to Israel and other things of the return of Jesus and his army. The most glorious, dramatic day in history is going to be Feast of Trumpets 2028, and it's really exciting. We just really need to be ready and be separate from all the thinking and letting go, hopefully being free totally of all anger and irritation, or at least if you get caught up in it and then you see it and then you let it go. And eventually, if you are practicing that silent prayer, you you have the power to see anger or irritation come up, and then you let it go before it washes over you. And so, and the reason I mentioned Foundation, because I listened to them a little bit this morning, and Alan was saying, talking about deciding. Well, you decide this. You got to decide. You make decisions. No, actually, if you live objectively, and you're connected to the Holy Spirit that doesn't talk, that just guides us. It's a silent partner, I call it. It just leads you. It leads you. It shows you. The imposter, the thoughts can try to it tries to mimic it, and it'll like, you might see what to do clearly, and then it'll talk to you in your head to try to steal its glory. And you just watch it. It's just playing a game every day, to prove to lead us to be more in the moment, and guided by the light. But Roy used to say, and I agree with him totally. I mean, you could see it when you live your life more and more that way, that he didn't make decisions. He didn't say. He just saw what to do. It's just right in front of you. It makes sense. It's like the guide is so much more of a guide than we tend to realize or have lived our life. But it's literally guiding us in everything. Just there inside us. I mean, it's amazing. It's not anything I really, it just is, and there's not anything to think about, to mull over. There's only things you might wonder or have a question, ask God, or I thank God after I meditate. I don't. I used to ask for Him just to care, to be a decent person, to care again. That's the only thing I really asked for God for, and He granted that. But as far as talking to God, I mean, it's very little that we need to do. We need to be silent and get out of the thinking, and realize that life is a lot simpler and dumber than we have lived. And I mean dumb in a good way, because it almost seems like you're blank slate and there's nothing going on. You might even be a little bit lonely, but not really lonely. So, then the thing in us that seems like us, it'll talk to ourselves or have a conversation in our head, and then and that kind of fills our life. But we can't. When you drop off of that, then it seems like there's not much of anything going on, but you have an inner calm, and then you can do things much more efficiently. And then when you do speak with people and stuff, it comes out from the Holy Spirit, and you're not even thinking that that's the case, but it just is. Like right now, I'm not. It's not coming from my intellect, and it's blessed. It's a blessing, and it's like living like a kid. Because when you're a kid, kids, they just say what they see. They blurt out things. They're honest. That's because they're not living in the thought land. So please practice, if you're not already, the Roy Masters meditation exercise. Just type that in YouTube. I don't really lead people to the foundation anymore because it's so obvious. I'll give you an example of why I say they are in their intellect too, because we can see we're in the end times clearly. Anybody can see it. Roy clearly saw it. Roy, before he passed away, I don't know, a little while before, he said, "Condolences, America," when he wasn't involved with the whole MAGA Trump thing, the clot shots and all that, because he was overcoming a head concussion pretty bad. So he was helping take care of Anne before she passed away. But he clearly, when he was told what was happening with the illegal lockdowns and a little bit of the clot shots, he said, "Condolences, America," and he was right. We're about done. The Antichrist is coming up by March, and the wonderful 2 witnesses, and the Jan and Ann and those many at the foundation, they can't see the forest from the trees because they'll preach and talk like they're all spiritual and get it, but they don't. Because on the other hand, they can't see the deception of Trump. And I won't go all in detail, but it's clear to anybody awake that he's colluding with the pharma mafia and he's still going along. And there's a lot of turbo cancers and millions of people dying off throughout the world. It's a horror. It's a genocide. It's like, I won't even go into it again. Anyone on BitChute, Rumble, you can see if you're getting information from Dr. Makis, Makis, and many other doctors. And yet, Trump is still telling the world that they were that they're lifesavers. He's not helping to warn anybody. We got kids being forced, and they're dying. They're literally dying. They're getting myocarditis, young men. We get zero help from Trump. We get actually the opposite. We get continued lies. That is a treachery. That is murderous. It's horrible. It's a snake in our own party. And Jan and Alan act like it's just another issue. How can you on one side preach like you got this deep understanding of objectivity and not see the tremendous evil of that and treat it like it's just another thing? You can't. That's why they're not really what they say, what they preach. And we will pray that maybe they will see it, but they're very, very stubborn people. And I remember Roy chastised in a nice, calm way and told Alan he didn't have love. This was, I don't know, 5-6 months before he passed away, and Alan fought him and disagreed, and it was in one of the meetings, and he was right, and it's still like that. They're both like that, but anyway, we'll pray. Hopefully they'll wake up, and God bless you, and thank you for watching, and have a good one.